guys, it's Tam. I hope you're doing well and staying safe and having a wonderful, 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 spectacular day, night, wherever you are. Before we start, please consider clicking subscribe, and leaving me a like and a comment. Thank you so very much. Today, I am going to be reading you some of my wonderful, wonderful recipes. These recipes are so fantastic. I make them over and over and over and over and over again for my family. So without further ado, please grab something to write with and sit back and relax and enjoy this wonderful, wonderful video. Guys, this video is a little bit on the darker side because I turned my ring light off because I'm going to be wearing my glasses. I cannot see anything at all in front of me unless I have my readers on. So if I look at my recipe book, it is going to look completely fuzzy unless I wear these glasses. So I didn't want the ring light reflecting and blinding you guys. So I apologize in advance for wearing these, but it's a necessity. So the first thing I'm going to do is take a sip of my Summer Skies drink. You see these there's little boba floating around in this little drink. I think they put a lot of coconut milk in here. Pretty good. Okay. What I have done is this is my cookbook. My daughter drew this a long time ago. Recipes, and I have handwritten recipes from over the years that are fantastic. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. These are things that are just great for kids, for young adults. You know, anybody that likes beef, chicken, mainly beef and chicken. I think that's it. Now, can these be substituted with non-animal products? Yes. My girlfriend made me chili a couple months back, and she said, I want you to try it first and tell me what you think of it. It's a chili recipe I'll be reading off. And I wolfed it down. First of all, she gave me a fairly decent sized bowl. She topped it with onions, shredded cheese, sour cream. I wolfed it down. And after I did, she said, how did you like it? Of course, I loved it. And she said, I made it with impossible beef, which I'm like, I don't even know what that is. Impossible beef is a soy product. It is plant-based, so first of all, I couldn't even believe it because the texture was the same as I was used to in chili. I just couldn't even believe it. So anyways, so these recipes, can you replace most of them with that kind of food? Yes, I'm sure of it. And if you are used to using a certain product, go ahead and try to incorporate it into some of these. If you can't, then this is strictly a whisper ramble for most of you. But if you are interested in fairly easy recipes for yourself, maybe your significant other, maybe your family, maybe, something that you want to try out, then have something to write with. I don't think I'm going to be including any of this in the description because that would require me to type extra, and I may forget. So please get out something to write with. I usually get a stack of just blank white paper and start drawing on it. So let's see. The first thing I'm going to do is talk to you about tater tot casserole. Tater tot casserole. This is my husband's favorite meal. It is so easy that I love making it because it's just very easy. These are the ingredients. Remember, you can substitute that impossible meat or any kind of meat substitute cream of chicken soup, 1 can of evaporated milk, or 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. It's one or the other. Don't put both of them in there. You're going to heat the oven to 350 degrees. What you're going to do is you're going to brown the meat, brown your ground beef, and you're going to drain it lightly, salt and pepper it, lightly salt and pepper. Put that beef into an 8x8 pan. I use a glass pan. You can use any pan you want. You don't need to spray it with any kind of grease because the hamburger or the ground beef has enough oils in it. You don't need to spray it. Once you put the beef in, you're going to cover it with a layer of frozen tater tots. In a bowl, you are going to mix the soup and most of the can of evaporated milk. When I say can of evaporated milk, I mean there's just a medium-sized can. It's not a large can, it's a medium-sized can. You're going to mix together the soup and the evaporated milk. Once you do that, you're going to pour that mixture over the tater tots, over the beef and tater tots in the pan. Then what I do is I take a fork or something and I make sure the sauce goes in between everything. Like I just sort of incorporate it. I don't mix it in, but I incorporate it in. You're going to put it in the oven for 45 minutes. That's it. It is very easy. It is delicious. You could make this recipe for a breakfast. You could totally make it for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. It's very versatile. So that is my tater tot casserole. That's one. Which one is next? Which one? Okay. Some of these, most of these are going to be meat dishes. I hate to say it. So if that makes you sick, you may want to tune into another video. So the next thing I'm going to tell you is a recipe. I'm going to give you the recipe for homemade Alfredo sauce. You can put this directly over noodles. You can pair it with chicken and noodles. It's just a delicious, you can use it as a dipping sauce. Oh my gosh, it's so delicious and easy. This is what you're going to need. You are going to need 1 egg yolk. Just 1 egg yolk. 3 tablespoons of butter. That is unsalted butter. 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. A half a cup of grated Parmesan cheese. A pinch of salt, and a pinch of nutmeg. Okay, and this is how you make it so easy. You're going to separate the egg and put the yolk aside and just whisk it a little tiny bit. You're going to melt the 3 tablespoons of butter in a saucepan over medium heat. You're going to stir in the cup of heavy whipping cream and just stir it. Add the pinch of the salt and the pinch of the nutmeg. You're going to stir in the half cup of shredded Parmesan cheese. You're going to stir until the cheese is melted, and then you're going to stir in the egg yolk last. You're going to simmer it over heat, very light heat for 3 to 5 minutes, continuously stirring it. You could even I usually do that just to make sure it is salty enough or not as salty, whatever. Obviously you can tweak the salt or tweak the nutmeg. Sometimes I like a little extra nutmeg. That's it. That's all you do. That is a great sauce. When you make that sauce, you will never want to buy canned sauce again. It's cheaper and delicious. Okay. This is the chili. Now remember, when I say the beef, that's the impossible beef if you'd like it to, or you could just use ground beef. This has a little extra in it if you do like ground beef or if you do like meat. Okay, so this one is, tablespoons of onion powder, a half a teaspoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of chili powder, 1 tablespoon of cumin, 2 cans of undrained tomatoes diced up. You can also use diced green peppers. I like adding green peppers to mine. You're going to brown the meat and drain it. Brown all of it, the meat and the sausage if you're using it, or just the impossible meat. Drain it. You're going to add the herbs and the tomatoes. You're going to simmer it over Simmer it over low heat for 10 minutes. You can simmer it as long as you really want to. And taste it again to see if you need to tweak anything. I serve it with shredded cheese, Mexican shredded cheese, and diced tomatoes and sour cream, and it is sheer heaven. I love it. Very easy. It's very easy. Okay, on to the next one. This is for everybody that has a target. If you do not have a target, then disregard. You gotta fast forward. Forget about this one if you do not have a target, because this specific can is a Target brand. It makes the whole dish. So if you don't have a target, fast forward. You are going to buy 2 cans. If there's like a family or a gathering of 4 people, you can cut it down to 1 can for like 1 or 2 people of butter chicken. It is at Target. It is in the sauce aisle. You can ask anybody there, where's your butter chicken, and they'll look it right up. Let me show you what it looks like. I was going to show you what it was going to look like, but I forgot that we've already used it. So butter chicken. All you're going to do is thaw out 2 to 4 chicken breasts, dice them up, put a little oil in your pan, cook that, put the lid on, cook it for like 10 to 15 minutes, cook it through to where there is no pink, obviously. You're going to drain the chicken from the oil, and you're going to add 1 to 2 containers of the butter chicken sauce. Stir it up. You're going to heat it on low for like 10 more minutes. It just absorbs in the chicken. Oh my gosh, it's so delicious. And then I usually heat up either instant rice, make your own rice, whatever rice you want. We use jasmine rice. Make the jasmine rice, and you're going to just serve that right over the rice. Oh, we have that once a week. It's delicious. Okay, this recipe is extremely easy. This requires chicken, cherry tomatoes, a block of feta cheese, and what else? And then you can serve it over whatever you want. If you're on keto diet, you just don't serve it over anything. You just have it as is. But all you're going to do is you're going to take a container. Typically, I take like an 8x8 pan. And you're going to put a block of feta cheese, not crumbles, but a block of feta cheese. You're going to put the cherry tomatoes, a whole container of cherry tomatoes around the whole thing. You're going to put about, I would say, roughly 2 to 3 teaspoons of minced garlic scattered all over that. Black pepper over the whole thing. You may put a little bit of dashes of Italian seasoning if you have that. And then you're going to drizzle olive oil over the whole thing, and you're going to bake it 40 minutes at 400 degrees. That seems like a very long time, but it's worth it. When it comes out, you can just mix it together, and the tomatoes sort of like crumble, they piece apart, and everything is so delicious. It's a sauce, and you're going to make your chicken. You're going to dice your chicken up or whatever protein you want. You could probably even do tofu. Cut up your tofu, cook it however you make it, and put this sauce over it. It tastes like you're in a professional restaurant. That's just called chicken, tomato, and feta. Okay. garlic, so probably just do onion powder. Then you're going to take a handful, I would say maybe 6 radishes. Trust me on this, I cannot stand the thought of eating radishes. I was almost like, oh my gosh, I can't do this, until I made it, and it is so amazing. Oh my gosh, the raw radishes are sort of like grassy, grassy and gross. But when they are sliced up into thin slices with a little slicer and cooked, they taste like pasta. They have no real taste. They take on what you are cooking them with. So 6 radishes thinly sliced. You're going to take 1/4 of a teaspoon of minced garlic, 1/2 teaspoon salt, pepper. In addition to that main thing, you will also have 4 ounces of cream cheese softened, 1/8 cup of ketchup. You're going to be using mayonnaise, more mustard, and a teaspoon of pickle juice. Trust me on this. Okay, so you're going to cook the ground beef, the onion, the radishes, the garlic, salt, and pepper in a pan. Cook it in a pan until it is completely cooked. What I mean by that is that the beef is browned. You are going to add the 4 ounces of cream cheese, the sugar-free ketchup, the mustard. Mix it. You are going to put it into a glass pan, an 8x8 glass pan. And this says add cheese on top, so I usually use Mexican shredded cheese. You can use cheddar shredded cheese, whatever you want. Shred it on top. Put it on top. You're going to bake it in the oven for 15 to 20 minutes. When it comes out, you're going to put it on the plate, but you're going to serve it with a dipping sauce. That usually I make this dipping sauce, and it's not dipping sauce, it's a drizzle sauce. 1.5 tablespoons of mayonnaise, 1/2 tablespoon of yellow mustard, and 1 teaspoon of pickle juice. And you're going to mix it together and drizzle it over. Oh my gosh, it is so good. So good. It's called Keto Hamburger Helper. Fantastic. Okay. What's next? Oh gosh, what is next? Here's another recipe called keto lasagna. I do not know how you would substitute for this, so you may have to just scroll past if you don't like any kind of meat dish. Okay, here's what you need. 1/2 pound of thinly sliced boar's head chicken breast. Thinly sliced. 1 pound of ground beef. 16 ounces of whole milk ricotta cheese. Shredded mozzarella cheese. I would just buy the smaller, like the 5-ounce package of shredded mozzarella cheese. I use Rao's, R-A-O''S, Rao's marinara sauce. You can use any marinara sauce you'd like. A little bit of garlic powder and basil. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to ground the beef. This says ground the beef in my recipe. Oh my gosh, why would I ground the beef? Brown it. You're not going to ground it. What on that? Okay. Anyways, you're going to brown the ground beef. You're going to add the salt and pepper and drain it. You're going to add 1/2 of the jar of the marinara. And you're going to cook that in the pan for like 5 minutes. Now, in a 13x9 pan, and if you are cutting this recipe down to a single serving, you can put it in a smaller pan. You're going to add I'm going to call that red sauce. You're going to add red sauce. Then you're going to add a layer of mozzarella cheese. Then you're going to add the thinly sliced chicken over that. Then you're going to add the take it out and smooth it over the top. And then add mozzarella again and repeat the layers for as long as you have that red sauce. So red sauce, mozzarella, thinly sliced chicken, ricotta, mozzarella, repeat. You're going to bake in a 400-degree oven for 20 minutes and it tastes great. The chicken tastes like pasta. It takes on the pasta. So these are keto dishes, but they're so great. Okay, this next one is more involved, but it is the best meatloaf. Oh, I love it. It's called Mama's Meatloaf. I have tweaked it from a famous person's recipe to be my meatloaf because I've added something in there that is store-bought that changes everything. It changes everything. So this, if you want a meatloaf that is fantastic, but remember this is slightly involved. I mean, by involved it just takes an hour to bake. It's really not that crazy, but this is what you need. Okay, a half a cup of plain breadcrumbs, a third cup of chopped flat leaf parsley. I usually just put like a big handful of dry parsley in mine. You're going to want a fourth a cup of Classico sun-dried tomato pesto. That is what I have put into this recipe to change it up and make it extra great. The recipe calls for a fourth a cup of sun-dried tomatoes, which is perfectly fine if you want to do it that way, but if you can find sun-dried tomato pesto, a million times better. A million times. You're going to need 2 cloves of minced garlic, 2 eggs at room temperature, lightly beaten, 2 tablespoons whole milk. I get a small container of crumbled feta. I use the whole entire one. This says that you need a half a cup of crumbled feta, but I use the entire package. I think it's probably a cup. I like our meatloaf to be a little bit cheesier. A half a teaspoon of kosher salt, 1 teaspoon of freshly ground pepper, a pound of ground beef. And this is what you're going to do. You're going to heat the oven to 375 degrees. You're going to spray a loaf pan. You can also use a normal 8x8 pan, but I use a loaf pan. Spray it with cooking spray. In a large bowl, you're going to stir together the breadcrumbs, parsley, sun-dried tomato, pesto if you have it, garlic, eggs, milk, feta, salt, and pepper. Then you're going to add the ground beef. Now you can also substitute the Impossible beef or ground turkey. It's up to you, but we use ground beef. Do not overwork it. Just combine the ingredients and then stop. Carefully pack that mixture into the loaf pan, and you're going to bake it. I would say seriously bake it for at least 45 minutes. 45 minutes, and then once it comes out, let it rest for 5 minutes. Cut into it, and you're gonna love it. Oh, it is so good, so good. Okay. The next recipe I got from Honeybee ASMR. It is her cauliflower ice cream. I've tried it and I love it. It is so healthy, much healthier for you than normal ice cream, I think. So easy to make, so easy. So if you have a nice high-powered blender, that is what you'll need for sure. You can't have any blender that's like, it has to be pretty high-powered. You are going to want 2 cups of frozen cauliflower. Riced cauliflower is the best to use. You're going to take a cup of almond milk. Unsweetened almond milk is fine. You're going to want to take, I would say, roughly 8 cubes of ice. I usually just grab a big handful and slop them in. You're going to want to take at least 1, if not 2 scoops of vanilla protein powder. like Swerve. I use Swerve. You can use stevia, you can use monk fruit, whatever you do. I would say for that amount, you would probably use 2 to 3 packets of stevia or like a couple tablespoons of Swerve. And all you're going to do is blend it up. Blend it. Put it in a little container. Put it in the freezer for like 30 minutes to an hour. When it comes out creamy, it is grainy. It's a little bit grainy, but it tastes so good. It is great, and it's freezing. I love it. This one is a great chicken rub for 2 chicken breasts. Okay, and all this is just a rub to rub on your chicken, and then you bake it in the oven. You're going to combine in a bowl a half a teaspoon chili powder, a fourth a teaspoon garlic salt, a fourth a teaspoon onion powder, a fourth a teaspoon paprika, an eighth a teaspoon cinnamon, and a few dashes of black pepper. And you're going to mix that up in the bowl. Mix it up. And then you're going to pat it on 2 sides of a pounded chicken breast, a thawed out chicken breast. Pound it down, and then add that to both sides. I usually fork the chicken, and then put the seasoning on there so it gets in there a little bit. You're going to avocado oil both sides of the chicken, and then put it in a 400-degree oven for 25 minutes. I was pausing because my recipe said something about an air fryer. We don't even have an air fryer, so I'm going to skip that. And lastly, this is the last one, the last recipe that I'm going to give you, although we have other things we have, but they're more like prepackaged meals. So the last one is chicken fettuccine with shiitake mushrooms, but any kind of sliced mushrooms are perfect. You are going to use 8 ounces of fettuccine noodles. You can use any kind of noodles you want. Anything can be substituted, really. 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. You're going to use 2 boneless, skinless chicken breasts. I usually cube them. 3 cloves of garlic. 2 ounces. That's 1 to 1.5 cups of sliced mushrooms, really, of your choice. 2 teaspoons lemon zest. I eliminate that. I don't have time to buy a lemon and zest it, forget it, so I use lemon juice. 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. A half cup of Parmesan cheese. And a half a cup of fresh basil. And all you do is you're going to bring your pot of water to a boil. I usually add a little bit of salt and a little bit of oil to the pan when I put in my noodles. Cook the noodles for about 12 to 13 minutes. Some people are very particular over their noodles, so cook it however you want to, but that's how we cook it. We cook it for like 13 minutes. Reserve half of a cup of the pasta water before you drain it. Meanwhile, you're going to heat up your oil in a pan. You're going to add chicken strips, and you're going to cook them for about 3 to 4 minutes. Then you're going to add the minced garlic and the mushrooms. You're going to cook until it's tender. You're going to stir in lemon zest if you want to. You don't have to, but you're definitely going to want to put the lemon juice, salt, pepper, and remove it from heat. You are going to add your pasta, the reserved pasta water, the Parmesan cheese and basil, and just stir it all up, and it's like an ooey gooey delight. And then you can just try it out to see if you need more salt. I hope you enjoyed this little whispered ramble. It was not really anything to look at because I had to look at my little recipe book to see what was going on. I just wanted to make sure that you guys got a handful of recipes to start out with. I will be asking my mom for some of her recipes. We just had sirloin tips over rice, which is such a great meal. I love it. We had wilted spinach salad that has a little bit of chopped hard-boiled eggs, a little bit of bacon, grease. It's like, oh my gosh, it's such a great salad. But my mom makes a lot of very good recipes from my childhood, so I will try to get those from her, and maybe I'll do a part 2 of this. Hopefully it's not as scattered as this one. But you get the gist. If you guys try any of these recipes, please come back and comment. You can even say, I tried your recipe and it was terrible, or I tried it and I altered it with this and it was great. Whatever. Feedback and sharing is priceless. I just love it. I hope you all had a wonderful time listening to this little ramble. I hope there are some useful recipes for you guys.